Alright, well, I'm going to do my Megadeth album tier ranking video. And Megadeth is probably my second favorite thrash band, right next to Annihilator. Megadeth could have easily been first, but considering their discography was a little bit pretty rocky in the 2000s, I had to put them second. Not that Annihilator's not been rocky, but they have a lot of good comebacks. But and of course the age-old discussion: who's better, Metallica or Megadeth? I'm a bigger Megadeth guy, mainly because I can actually really get down behind the 90s Megadeth albums a lot more. And I think Megadeth has worked a little bit harder than Metallica on putting out albums. Some which are good, some which are not that good. But, you know, it is what it is. There's a lot there to listen to. So anyway, let's start with Killing Is My Business, and Business Is Good. This is a great start. You know, obviously Dave Mustaine was just kicked out of Metallica. This album is angry, it's furious, it's out of control, it's raw. I mean, Dave Mustaine himself on vocals, he just sounds absolutely rabid on this album. You know, between this or Kill 'Em All, though, Kill 'Em All might be a bigger, more well-rounded album. Killing Is My Business is kind of short, but it packs a punch. And honestly, I can almost consider them equals. I like them both for their own rights. But I'll put Killing Is My Business so far so good. Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? This album is an improvement in every way possible. I mean, the riffs are better, the songs are better crafted. You know, the solos are amazing. Not that they weren't good on the first album, but they're even up a notch. Everything is up a notch on this album, even the production. There really is no flaw. The cover song I could probably do without, but other than that, so far so perfect. So far so good, so what? I really like this album, but to be honest, I think this one's a small step down. It just feels like it still feels kind of short. Some of the song, this album just kind of feels incomplete in a way, kind of like Killing Is My Business did. It's like there should be like another couple more songs on here, or maybe a couple songs could have been changed with better songs. But I don't know. Most of it's pretty good though. You know, songs like Liar, or that other song that has something to do with fast cars, I can't remember the title of it, those are okay, but the rest of the album's fantastic. I don't really like the Anarchy in the UK cover being like right there as the third track, but whatever. So far so good. Well, that's what we'll call this. Rust in Peace. Oh my gosh. Megadeth being in absolute perfection mode, that's what Rust in Peace is. I have nothing bad to say about this album. I love the production. Probably my favorite Megadeth production of any Megadeth album. The riffs are out of control, but so cleverly done. You know, so, you know, now we've gone through, like, we're already on our third lead guitarist. I forgot to mention that Chris Poland played on the first two. So Far So Good, So What had Jeff Young. And then now we got Marty Friedman, who would stick around for a while. But yeah, the solos are great, the riffs are great. This album feels super well-rounded, completed. It just feels super complete. It's got everything you want, minus a ballad. You don't even really need it. Even Dawn Patrol, which is, I always thought was the most pointless track. It's just bass with talking. I don't know. Even that's okay, just because I like the bass line. So far, so perfect. Countdown to Extinction. I like this album. It's kind of like their Black album. I personally like this a little better than the Black album because I'm not sick of these songs to death. Like I am the Black album. Like I could never hear half the Black album ever again, and I'd be fine with that. while this is still super fresh to me, it's, you know, it's not the kind of album you want from Megadeth right after Rust in Peace, but it's still really good. So far, so good. Euthanasia. Y'all are gonna think I'm insane when I talk about this one. So this is almost like Megadeth's Load, but I love this and I hate Load. Yeah, Euthanasia is just barely a metal album, more of a rock album. I love it, man. I love it. The songs are just full of atmosphere. Like, it's just one of those songs I like to just cruise to, you know, with my windows down on a nice sunny day. It's just a good album from beginning to end. It's just a nice listen. I mean, Megadeth shouldn't be sounding nice. They should be brutal, but hey, I can't help it. I love it. So far, so perfect. Cryptic Writings. Okay, so this is almost like Reload for Megadeth. Man, I could almost put this on the same tier as Euthanasia. I almost did, but I think Euthanasia is more timeless and practical, whereas Countdown, you can really hear a lot of 90s isms on this album. Not that that's a bad thing. I really think the songs are fantastic. There's even some speed metal on this album. For real. Like, I mean, it's like Reload wishes it could be this. The musicianship sounds great. The guitar tone sounds great. Marty sounds great. Everything, it's just a well done album. I can't help it. So far, so good. Almost could put it so far, so perfect, but I'm not going to. Risk. Okay, this is like their Saint Anger. I get it. While I can listen to this better than I can listen to Saint Anger, it's still not a very good album. A few tracks I might be able to listen to, but most of it, nah, it doesn't hold my interest too much. This album can rust in pieces. World Needs a Hero. This was supposed to be their comeback album. Was it? I don't know. I mean, what are they trying to come back to on this album? Exactly. Like, what was the goal here? Because it doesn't sound like any of the first four albums at all. Just because you have a song called Return to Hangar does not mean that this sounds like the first four albums, because it don't. This is blasphemy to call a song Return to Hangar. It's nowhere near as the first one. This is about as good as Metallica doing The Unforgiven 2. It's about that same quality. It's okay. It doesn't need to exist. So most of this album, so what does it really sound like then? If it don't sound like the first four, then what's a return to? Well, if it sounds like anything, it sounds more like Countdown to Extinction than anything. And even at that rate, it's nowhere near as good. So I don't like this album, really. The songs are just slow, boring, not interesting. I mean, there's a couple of good tracks on it, but it just fails on so many levels. This album can rust in pieces. The System Has Failed. Surprisingly, a lot of people seem to like this album, but to be honest with you, I only really, really love maybe 2 or 3 tracks, and the rest of it's just okay. It's better than World Needs a Hero, but so, okay, Kick the Chair is a fantastic song. It sounds like it could have came right off of Rust in Peace. That's a surprise. This is the craziest song that's been done since Rust in Peace. I approve. The album starts out with Blackmail the Universe. Again, some of these riffs sound like they could have come off Rust in Peace. I don't know. But the rest of it, it just sounds like Countdown mixed with 90s Megadeth in general. Just, I don't know. It just doesn't, it's okay. I just don't get it. like there's no direction to this album. So, you know what? I'll put So What on this one. United Abominations. Okay. I remember when this was coming out. Dave Mustaine was hyping it up in a magazine. I don't know, it could have been a Metal Maniacs. I don't remember the magazine. But he was saying that, you know, it's time that somebody comes out and does a thrash album again. Somebody's got to do it. So, is that what this is? Somewhat. I think there's some good stuff on here. Like the song Sleepwalker is pretty good. Washington is Next. I think the next song is okay. But here's the problem. A lot of the good riffs on this album are already like taken from past Megadeth songs. Like I think the second half of Sleepwalker, isn't it pretty much the riff from Take No Prisoners? Like a riff straight from that. And then I heard something that kind of sounds a bit like Tornado of Souls on another song. The music just isn't super memorable. And then there's some songs that just absolutely bore me, like Gears of War. I don't know. This album's good. It's listenable. I do listen to it, but I have to put it as So What. It's okay. It's just very average in my opinion. Endgame. Now this is what this is this is what the past few albums should have been. This is a flat out thrash album, a thrash attack. This album's amazing. From beginning to end, the album pretty much sounds like Kick the Chair, or you know, like this is just what we all wanted from Megadeth, and there's a whole album of it this time. This album definitely gets a lot of good praise for a reason. So far so perfect. I have not much else to say. Okay, well, although I really like this album, I ain't gonna say that it's better than Rust in Peace or Peace Sells. It's nothing like that. I don't think it's a total classic. It's just what we want to hear from Megadeth for a change. So far so perfect indeed. It's up there as one of the most listenable Megadeth albums of the modern era. 13. So did we follow up with that? No, not entirely. Now, while 13 gets a lot of hate, I don't hate this album. Well, I don't know if it really gets hate. Like, it's more like people just treat it as average. It's just okay. I think it's better than okay. I think it's pretty good. It's not full-on thrash, but the songs are heavy. They're fairly memorable, I think. It's just an odd direction from like such a great album that came out before it. Like, why did this happen? Like, I don't know, but I'll give it a So What. It's good. It's not amazing, but I like it. It's listenable. Super Collider. Wow, we're on a downward spiral now. I don't like Super Collider much at all. The only song I think I remember liking, like the only song I could actually want to listen to, is Kingmaker. That's an okay song. It's nothing amazing. It's not really all that thrashy, but it's heavy and it's got some good riffs. I like it. The rest of it, radio rock and cheesy. Maybe it's a little heavier than Risk, but it's very, very corny. I don't know. I can't even remember many of the songs on there, but I don't know. There's a song that's like Burn Baby Burn or something. And there's something about I don't know. I can't remember. I just remember not liking it. So this album can rust in pieces for all I care. Dystopia. Okay, this is an improvement. I really like this album, but it's got its own problems. First of all, there's a lot of recycled material here. The song Dystopia is basically a rewrite of Hangar 18. This could have been Hangar 18 Part 3. I don't know. It could have been a return to Hangar. I mean, just listen to the structure and just listen to how it's laid out. It's Hangar 18. So, I don't know. That kind of loses some points for me. And there's some, another song on there. It's, I'm starting to forget the titles of this thing. I ain't listened to it for a while, but there's some stuff that's ripped from Peace Sells, but Who's Buying album. I mean, it's good. It just doesn't reach the mark. But I'll give it a so what. I like it. It's just it just has its own problems. And last but not least, The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, which I did a review specifically on this album a few weeks ago. It's basically got some of the same problems as Dystopia, but maybe it's a different set of problems. It's not so much plagiarism as it is. There's just nothing super interesting about the album. I mean, the title track that it starts off with is incredible. Like, that's like one of the best newer Megadeth songs ever written, period. Because I think it's creative. It's something that straight from the deepest imagination of Dave Mustaine. It's some of those riffs. But the rest of it is just so basic. It's like the type of thrash you would write when you're just sitting around playing around with your guitar. Again, it's not bad. I like it. It's not one that I want to pull out and listen to all the way through. I usually just kind of skim through the songs until I'm done. But I'll give this a so what. Listenable. It's good. That's about it. So that's it. I love Megadeth. But honestly, I think the best of the best is from the 80s through the 90s. And I can kind of just cherry pick what I like from the 2000s. But, you know, they're not doing too terribly bad nowadays for a band like Megadeth. I just think that Dave Mustaine's more creative than this. But I don't know. But anyway, thanks for watching.